Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP podcast. This is episode number, well, we'll get to that in a second. I think it's episode number 367. But we have something to discuss. With me here today are the beautiful boys, Dave and Brandon. Hello.
Hello.
What's up, Ben?
I was just, earlier when I was, so my process every week is Dave, as of the last 6 months or so, has very kindly taken over doing the show notes. So I pop open the show notes when I have about half an hour. I check out what's there. I go ahead and go make the thumbnail. When I make the thumbnail, I always save the image I'm going to use to a new folder. And I label that folder the number of the episode. So it's always the next week's folder, right? Well, last week's was 366. But Dave had put 368 in the show.
Oh, shit.
So I went and tried to find, why don't we have 367? I was scrambling around for that for a while. Then I realized the episode from last week is actually named 366. But then I started going back through a rabbit hole. And I'm not really sure if we're on 365 or 369 or somewhere in between.
Maybe we should just pick a new number.
We're rebooting the show.
We're on episode 1765.
It's a lot.
We probably, it's not that impressive to anybody, but I went and redid the website recently, like yesterday. And in doing that, I realized we have a lot more episodes of this show. I think we've talked about this at some point. We have a lot more episodes of the show than that are named as episodes, because like the first few episodes we had some interviews and some like one-off reviews and stuff like that. So we basically can make up any number we want and it'll be mostly accurate. It just might confuse some people.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be confused. I think they're just going to accept it.
Or not at all care.
We have some very facetious and petulant people in Discord, so you'd be surprised.
You're going to have to use smaller words, man. For me.
Did you say we have incestuous people in the Discord?
Incestuous and molestial is what he said.
Incestuous and molestuous. Yeah. Voluptuous and scrumptious.
And
David
titular.
Merlino says 369. Nice. Derek O says happy episode 400. Grief says it's 1765, Brandon. So I think we're on the right track here.
See? Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, maybe we got something here.
The only thing I'm concerned about is episode 300. We made a big deal about that.
You made a big deal about that.
No, we had Phil on and stuff. It's pretty important.
Rest
He's
his
dead,
soul.
so
Rest his soul.
we reanimated.
We did
somebody.
bring him back to life and kill him again.
Deal.
I still didn't get the rest of the package on Fiverr when we hired the necromancer. He said he was going to give me like a plush as well of our friend, but he only did about half the work, so I'm still waiting for that in the mail. Necromancer, if you're listening, yes, you the one on Fiverr.
Read the TaskRabbit terms of service.
TaskRabbit. Okay, so anyway, you're worried because we made a big deal out of 300.
So was it we were close to 300 regardless of if we were...
I mean, it was the 300th numbered episode of the show, so sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we're good.
I mean, numbers are what you make them. Time is relative, Dave.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys ever think about the only way we measure time is by the Earth rotating around the sun and also rotating on its own.
Mm-hmm.
If, for just a moment, let's pretend like the entire world wouldn't burn up if that all stopped happening. If the sun stopped, or if we stopped turning around the sun and the planet also stopped rotating, time would still pass, but we would not be able to measure it.
No.
Time
so is it still time passing?
Time is
or are we living
circle.
in an infinite loop?
It's a construct, man.
Don't think about these things at 3 a.m. when you're trying to sleep. I can tell you from personal experience.
That's my new rabbit hole on YouTube. So I watch YouTube before I go to bed.
Watching me sleep?
That too, but just you can't find the camera, Ben.
Comforts Dave. every
I clicked on one like space video, and now that's all I'm getting. And the one I got a couple nights ago was what would happen if a black hole entered our galaxy.
Yeah.
mind fuck. So we'd know like 99, like 100 years in advance. Like that's when we'd first see it. We'd start to see like weird little distortions really far out, and then for the next 100 years, we just watch this thing slowly
panic.
swallow our galaxy. The good thing is before it reached us, it would probably hurl an asteroid or a comet towards Earth. That would kill us then, rather than us waiting for our slow demise.
Oh,
But the weird thing is there's also a chance that it would actually it wouldn't swallow Earth, but it would chuck Earth out to space, and we just
Knock
kind
it
of
out of the
float off.
gravitational pull. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Wild shit. That would really fuck with time.
Yeah. But you would still know the passage of time would still exist, but we wouldn't be able to measure it if we were all dead.
That really doesn't sound like a fun time.
Hey.
The thing that really messes with me is like they talk about sometimes like, oh, if this meteor would have come this much closer to Earth, it would have landed and destroyed everything and destroyed our ecosystems. We'd all die. It'd be an extinction event, whatever. And like it's not that big of a meteor or object that needs to do that in order for us to be gone as we know it. And that's fine, whatever. It's unavoidable if it's going to happen. We're not going to stop it. But part of me is like, couldn't it just be like the size of another planet, so we just die immediately instead of having it come and bring upon like a new apocalypse and have to suffer through that? Like if I'm going to die to a meteor, I want it to be quick.
Dude, I don't. I want to live through the whole like societal collapse, man. I don't know.
Brandon, you won't make it.
And
He
that's
played The
okay.
Last of Us. He's good.
No. And that's okay, but what I'm saying is that living through that would make you realize on a day-to-day basis now, with that not having happened, would make you realize how little everything actually matters.
Yeah.
Nothing matters. Nothing ever matters. Everything we do, all these social niceties, all of these constructs, this paper that we use to exchange goods as if it's worth anything but cotton, none of it matters. Nothing matters. We are monkey people on a floating rock that may explode at any moment for no apparent reason, and we don't understand any of it.
I 100% agree with you, Brandon. But also, do you think anyone would actually be able to appreciate that as they are digging through the garbage trying to find a can of beans to eat in the middle of a Mad Max style apocalypse?
Mm-hmm.
And potentially zombies are at play. Like why not throw them in there?
You never know. Yeah.
Derek says I'm too high for this episode.
I was just thinking we should be high for this stuff.
Yeah,
but
shit,
good
man.
for you, Derek.
That's a good point. I think the beer tap on the desk would come in really handy if that happened. Actually, I might be able to open a bar in my office.
I've also been thinking about like the speed of light, and we don't actually fully understand. Sorry, this is just where my brain's going. I don't have anybody else to talk about with this stuff with. We don't actually fully know the speed of light because we don't we've measured it from the sun, and we measure other places based on what we think that is, but we don't actually 100% know how far we are from the sun. We have a guess, and then we based what we think the speed of light is. We use that to determine how far we are from the sun, because you can't actually get to the sun to measure it. So what if our sun's light goes faster or slower than another light source? And instead of Alpha Centauri being 4 whatever million or 4 whatever light years away, it's actually like 2.5.
This is just
or like
us
70.
guessing what episode number we're on.
So you're suggesting that, true, Dave. So you're suggesting that there is a possible variable speed of light.
Yes. No, I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I'm like
How can we
postulating
not?
that.
Wait, how can't we measure that though?
We can measure the speed of our light.
Yeah.
We can't measure the speed of all light.
Yeah, but isn't all light the same?
Is
As
it?
light
Because it travels in different frequencies.
Yeah, but the speed of sound is the same, and there's different sound waves.
Yeah.
Is the speed of sound the same on Pluto?
Isn't that why they measure in speed of light though? Because it's not affected by the vacuum of space.
Right, but we don't actually understand. Like, part of the formula for the speed of light is how far we are from the sun.
Right, but we've had people in space, so
We've never had anybody in the sun, though.
No, but we've been
I'll
in
go.
space, so Buzz
Yeah.
stands here, Steve stands here, and they flash each other, and they know, that you can measure. We've done enough to be able to measure that. So extrapolate that, and to a relative sense how fast light travels through space and time.
Correct. I think we have it to a down to, as Grief just put it in the chat, a calculated theoretic.
Yeah.
But we don't actually know, and we also don't know how light actually act. Like, we can't. The blue light from another solar system that comes in, we don't actually know the speed of that light.
Right.
And since the way we're measuring how far away other solar systems are is by measuring the light, how fast the light travels, in some sense, we can't actually know for sure because we don't know how the light from that star travels.
But we sent enough probes to the edge of our solar system, our galaxy, to know how quickly that's traveling. Like, I feel like we've done enough from a space exploration standpoint in the last 75 years to be able to reasonably measure the speed of light through the galaxy. You're right. It's an estimation. It's a ballpark. It's the best guess. But when you're speaking in terms of hundreds of millions of light years, it's a reasonable guess, right?
I mean, we're probably within 1%, but that's a pretty big margin of error at that distance.
I think we just need to figure out how to attach ourselves to light, dude. Then we can go as far as we want.
That's fiber optics. I have that in my house. That's not new, Brandon. Come on.
We need to become light.
You've seen Tron, right?
I work in a fiber. I work in a data center. I know light.
Well, the other piece of it is that when we do those measurements, it's somewhat based upon the speed of light, which again is not a firm calculation from my understanding. I could be totally wrong and just watch the wrong guy on YouTube or something, but I've thought about a lot of this for many years, and it's just started coming to a point where I'm like, what if all of it's like wrong?
Yeah.
Dave, on your rabbit hole, try to get into speed of light stuff. I want you to explore more and tell me about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be the speed of sound guy because it's not quite as we know a little bit more about that, I guess.
Brandon, I stun locked you when I said, does the speed of sound occur at the same rate on Pluto as it does here? What happened in your brain?
I was just thinking all the variables, because regardless of any variable that's able to affect sound, it still is traveling at the same speed without that variable. You know what I mean? Like,
but sound doesn't exist without air. Or does it in a different way? Is there sound on Pluto?
There has to be.
How?
They we've taken pictures on the surface of Venus.
And don't they say, like,
down there they have microphones and stuff.
Like, there's a roar of space when you're near a planet?
I don't know. I've never been near a planet. I've just only been on one.
I mean, I think I've played enough No Man's Sky to make an educated guess at this. I was riding my testicle monster around one of the planets, and I did hear it. I can attest for that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's as good a science as we're going to get, probably. David says, it's throwing me off. It's waffles. No sound if there's no atmosphere to capture sound waves. Right. That's my point.
He doesn't know that. He's not been there. So,
well,
taking his opinion on that is like taking Brandon's opinion on Star Wars.
I mean, there's a big difference in that a lot of people called scientists agree with the no sound if no atmosphere thing.
Well, like, if a tree falls in a forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? How do you know?
What's the receptor for the sound?
What's the receptor?
Yeah.
Irrelevant to the question.
No, it is relevant, because if if there's no receptor, does the sound exist? Sound only exists by creating waves against something.
Yes, that's the question that I'm asking. Does it make a noise?
I'm agreeing with you. We don't know.
Just like, does a bear shit in the forest?
Well, that I think we've pretty much concluded on the
Have
answer.
you ever watched one?
Yeah, actually.
Oh my god, dude! Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down. This is the HP podcast. We talk about video games and all sorts of theoretical stuff that honestly, I mean, I can't 100% say for sure, but I'm pretty sure none of us are high right now.
This is the most high we've ever sounded while being completely stone sober.
Yeah. If you want to hang out with us, you can do so over at Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. You can also, I need to make sure that link still works actually, because I changed some stuff on the website. If you want the Discord, just ask us. We'll give it to you. And if you want to help us out over on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/handsomephantom. We'd appreciate having you there, helping support the boys for as little as $1 a month, ad-free early access to the audio version. And of course, you can always hang out with us here for the live show on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, except not next week. No show next week. Sorry, I know you're disappointed, everybody, but it's just the way it has to be. Dave has a hysterectomy he has to have.
Second one this month.
Again. It grew back.
Story number 1. This comes from Bloomberg. Oh my gosh, Dave, you gave me a link that is paywalled.
It worked for me.
Works on my machine.
Freaking Canadians.
I bet it's not going to work for me.
What are you oh, mine's paywalled too.
Yeah.
Even with ad blocker.
Do you want me to read it, guys?
Oh, you're in Canada. They don't want your money because it's worthless. That's right.
Sony pulls back from PlayStation games on PC. Sony Group Corp no longer plans to release its big PlayStation 5 games on PC, a major shift in strategy that sees the video game maker returning to console exclusivity after 6 years of flirting with multi-platform releases, according to people familiar with the company's plans. Online games such as Marathon and Marvel Tokon will still be released across multiple platforms, but single-player titles such as last year's samurai hit Ghost of Yotei and the upcoming action game Saros will remain exclusive to the PlayStation 5, said the people, who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to talk publicly about the company's strategy. I want to skip ahead to, there are likely a few reasons behind this shift. One is that several recent PlayStation games have not sold well on PC. A faction within PlayStation has also expressed concern that releasing their games on PC risks damaging the console's brand and will hurt sales of the PlayStation 5 and its successors, according to the people familiar with Sony's inner workings. And the article goes on to talk a little bit about Sony's history in single platform and multi-platform. Ben, a lot of talk about this on the internet the last couple days. Do you think this is going to be a major shift back to Sony's traditional model, or do you think there's a chance that Sony could flip-flop back to being multi-platform on PC with some of its exclusives?
I think that they will need to do so with some of their exclusives, such as Marathon, right? Like Marathon would not survive, in my opinion, if it were PlayStation exclusive. So I think that they need to do that for some games, hence why they are already. But I think that it's an interesting conundrum because I think that the console warriors perspective is, oh, we're going to cannibalize sales and yada, yada, yada. And I think Sony's perspective is the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like, yeah, we're making some money by doing this. I'm not saying this is the right perspective, but I think their perspective is it's only giving us a small percentage of what we're getting on PlayStation, and is it potentially devaluing the brand? They've had a lot of mess ups with ports that have not launched terribly well. They've had some other great ones too, and I think they're just looking at it from could we get this team to be working on something else that would make us more money, rather than something that's making us some money? Can we divert resources? It's kind of like the whole, it's like when we talked about Amazon and their game studios. Were they losing money? I don't think by and large that they were, but could the resources for those games have been put into something else that would make them more profits? That's probably what they were thinking. So I don't really love the decision. I think there are very few people who, like if it is for console push, I think there are very few people who are saying I can wait 2 years till it comes to PC, who would then be like, oh, I'll buy a PlayStation to play this now. I think most of those people would just rather skip it if it's not going to be on PC, if that's what they prefer to play on. If it's for profitability type stuff, I think that sucks, but I understand it from a business perspective of if we can maximize this resource and make more money, then we should do that. I really don't think, and I could be wrong, that it has anything to do with devaluing the brand of PlayStation or, just anything like that. I think putting it on multiple other consoles might do that, but putting it on PC is giving it to an audience that's most likely not going to buy a PlayStation already. Also, I thought you'd be interested to know, I use Brave browser. I use the Tor browser, and I was able to pull it up without the paywall. So there's a workaround for you guys. Brandon,
your thoughts?
I think it's kind of a silly decision. I think that they've been kind of choosy about what they've put out to begin with, and I don't know why they wouldn't continue to do that. I agree something like Marathon, games like this will continue to be released on PC when it's advantageous to them. I agree with you as well, Ben, in the sense that I don't think that putting these games out on PC does devalue the brand whatsoever. I think that's a convenient thing to put out there that will, say, hey, rah rah, we're taking care of our brand first. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't really think you said the juice isn't worth the squeeze, but like I don't really think that much work needs to be put into these games to get them on PC when most games are natively developed on PC to begin with and then get switched over. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I just think it's silly to kind of alienate a separate form of income when they're so desperately hurting for a win right now, when they're so desperately hurting for money, clearly. I think that this is a step in the wrong direction. And, PlayStation just continues to show that their leadership almost refuses to not continually step on their own feet while trying to move forward and end up falling flat on their face. So, yeah, I just think this is silly. I think it's stupid. It's very anti-consumer. It's not surprising from a company like Sony, like PlayStation, that they would end up doing something like this and rescinding it after something good happened. It's just disappointing more than anything else. So,
I have two things to say. One, I think that there may be another factor that is, for anything, I don't know how they're handling this with Marathon. I guess maybe because it's a Bungie game, it's a little different. But like I know with Helldivers, remember the whole sign-in fiasco, making you sign into PlayStation, stuff like that. I think that that's created a big wedge, and I don't think that that's something that PlayStation is likely to want to give in on with other future titles, because they want to talk about, they have a very strict ecosystem that they want to keep, and they can't enforce that without having, the PlayStation connection there. So that might be another factor too. I don't know. The second thing I wanted to mention, well, I lost it. Dang it. Yeah, you said PlayStation's very clearly hurting for money right now. Well, what makes you say that? They're like showing record profits.
Well, I guess when I say hurting for money, maybe not like, let me rephrase that. I feel like they've wasted a lot of money.
I think that might be fair, yeah.
Even if they're doing well, I guess that's what I meant more than like hurting for money. They've spent a lot of money and got no return. And so they're positioning this PC stuff to be the same thing, and they're going to nip it in the bud before it continues. But I completely disagree. We'll go back to the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's like you already have the product, you already have the fruit, and there's very little you have to do to mechanically squeeze it out and potentially sell more. And
you got the fruit, you just need to put it in a different basket.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, if there's a chance of you selling any of it, yes, you will have some upfront cost to get it on another platform, and you won't get as much money. But the idea is that you really want to recoup cost in any way you can. I'm not saying you want to be more like Xbox and put yourself everywhere, but they weren't even doing that to begin with. They were trying to recoup on some of their best games that they've ever made that people will be hungry for no matter what. Even if it didn't reach the projected sales, it's like these things sometimes trickle over time, and I feel like you cannot scoff at things that might not sell up front. The trickle buys do add up over a long period of time, and I just think this is another foolish, very foolish step that PlayStation has made in a long line of idiotic things they've done in the past 5 years.
I wonder what this potentially tells us about Sony's long-ish term hardware plans. We know that hardware components from a cost perspective have really gone through the roof over the past several years. So I wonder if, given the amount that Sony is looking to invest on next-gen hardware, they can't afford to sacrifice potentially, even potentially, hardware sales by moving their heavy software hitters onto PC. I, for one, like this, and I talked a couple weeks ago about how Xbox is posturing in a way that they're going to reinvest back in their hardware, and they've got a lot of work to do there. And I really like the console wars and this idea that, like, if you want to play God of War, you have to have a PlayStation. I'm okay with that. I mean, I think that breeds really, really good product, and it breeds really, really good competition. So I'm not one of the people who's like, I don't want people who don't have a PlayStation to play God of War. I don't care about that. But when I know that title is only on PlayStation, it makes me feel better about my investment in a PlayStation 5 or whatever it is. So I know that's stupid, but it's, I'm okay with this. At the end of the day, there's a cost to everything. And if Sony is not selling enough copies at a 30% cut on Steam to justify, making that move, then it doesn't make sense. Microsoft games sell really well on PlayStation because that's where the player base is. If the same isn't true on PC, then, it's just, there's an opportunity cost to everything. And if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. So, Brandon, I know it sucks, but speak to your PC Master Race people. They're not buying enough copies of Uncharted. This is your fault,
Well, this is what I think potentially the problem is it's more tone deaf board people assuming, like seems like the sequel's Grief said in chat. I think they might be assuming that they're going to sell similar on these new platforms as they did on the original release. And I hope that's not the case, and I'm kind of getting that assumption. I mean, I feel like they probably sold fine for being old games, and I really hope that they're taking into consideration that these games are old hat. Even if they've never been on these platforms, they're old games, and you cannot expect to push old product, even if it's never been available, the same as when it originally released. And I don't know. There's no way around this in my mind not being a bad decision for PlayStation and them reaping a larger profit in the future. I cannot see a possibility that not selling your product in a different storefront, even at a 30% cut, would not yield them more profit in the long run. Because to me, I get what you're saying, Dave, about, you get more value out of your PlayStation when God of War's only on there and you're playing it. I don't think most people feel that way. I think most people
expect them to. That's a very personal opinion, but
yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is I think most people don't really care or even know that it's on PC. Your average PlayStation consumer has no idea that God of War exists on PC. And so, yeah, this is a convenient excuse to stop doing something, and I think it generally will hurt them financially in the long run to not continue to explore this avenue. I really do.
I don't know if it'll hurt them, but I think it.
Well,
I don't think it will help them.
I think the PlayStation 6 is going to be $1,000 minimum, and I think in order for them to justify that cost to gamers in the future, they have to say that these titles are only going to be on this system. And there's going to be exceptions where player population is a key driver, like the marathons, but I think by and large, those single player narrative heavy hitters, they have to be on one console if they're going to justify that expense.
And I think that's something that PlayStation doesn't quite understand. Is the age of exclusives is over. I get they want to value their ecosystem, but I feel like generally when your console, if you're lucky, is $1,000, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more with the price of stuff. And so what I'm saying is that, like, I don't know. I don't think a couple games is going to be enough.
If it's $1,200 and it's the only place to play God of War, Uncharted, whatever, Sorrows 3, like, how else are you going to make that sale, right? If people are going to say, well, it's just going to be on the Steam Cube in 2 years, then I'll just wait for that. So I get it. And, you know, I think we're coming back to the age of exclusivity, especially now that we're about to talk about Highguard. These things are failing left, right, and center. So, I don't know. I'm happy to see this personally. I am.
Yeah, I don't really like as of right now. I'm someone who owns a PC and owns a PlayStation. So if I want to play it on PlayStation, if it's only on PlayStation, then I just buy it there instead of PC. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've played any Sony exclusive on PC other than Helldivers. And it wasn't exclusive. I mean, I don't think I've played any Sony published game on PC first. There's been a couple I dove into Returnal on PC after I'd already bought it on PlayStation, like that kind of stuff. But so for me, I'm somebody who, if it's an exclusive or if it's a first party game, I'm gonna buy it there anyway because I'm fortunate enough to be able to have both systems. But the train agrees with me. But yeah, I think that I really do think it's a matter of cost or like money reallocation. I don't think that this effort has been costing them money, but they must see an opportunity to make more money by not doing it and doing something else instead. I really think that's the only logical conclusion.
What was the first? It was God of War 2018, right? That was the first one.
I think that sounds right.
So it would have been
was
in
it
like
Spider-Man?
Oh yeah,
It might have been.
it was around 2020 though. So I mean, this easily could have been a 5-year experiment, and the 5 years is up, and plans have changed.
Grief says yes, but I don't know what he's saying yes to. Radix says, do you think this has anything to do with them trying to make the PS6 more enticing when everyone seems lukewarm on the PS6 coming so soon? Radix says the first one was Horizon Zero Dawn in 2020. So you're right about the year, Dave. We were all wrong about the game.
But they were close. Like there was Horizon, there was God of War, there was Spider-Man, there was Uncharted, all within fairly close proximity.
Right.
And then since then, there wasn't real like Death Stranding.
That's a bit of a weird one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Technically,
it seems like there was a lot at
published on
first,
PC
and
by
then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's because of that. Personally, I don't think that they're just that it's people don't like the PS6. Let's pull it from PC, so they have to come. I don't think that's the case. I do think that they think it makes them more appealing to buy the platform or to buy the console. I don't know if it makes it more appealing for. There are some people who are just never going to buy. Like they have a PC, and they can play most things on it. And if there's some stuff they can't play, they can't play it. They have that PC for work. They have it for play. They have it for the family. Whatever. They're not going to also invest in a console, and that's just going to be the standard for some group of people. Will never buy your game if it's not on PC. But that's okay, I guess. You know, there are some people who are never going to buy into your ecosystem regardless, and you can't always win them. So,
and I guess to go back to what I was saying earlier is that I agree with you, Dave. I think that will be their push to maybe try and entice people. But with the cost of a PC and the cost of a PlayStation being relatively similar, I just don't know that a couple exclusive pieces of software is going to stop people from deciding if they can play every game that's ever existed on PC or they could play some of the games that they want to on PlayStation. I think that no matter how enticing they make their ecosystem with exclusives, the creep of console is going to make PC look more enticing every single day, and we've been saying that for a long time. So,
I think Dave or somebody brought up an interesting point about the Steam Cube, the Steam machine,
The Steam Cube. That's what they should have called it. That
the
would have
Gabe
been
Cube.
What
nice.
is it? Is it Steam Machine?
Steam machine, yeah.
Steam Machine.
I think that's a really interesting point I hadn't really fully considered. That is going to make buying on Steam way more appealing. I don't know if that factored into their decision making or not, whatever, but that is, I mean, the people who live and die by consoles don't do it because most of them don't do it because they think it's superior. They do it because it fits a lot of their. They don't want a lot of trouble with troubleshooting computers. They want to sit on their couch and play and not have to worry about running cords and weird stuff like that. Like there's a lot of form factor stuff that the Steam machine will solve, and therefore why not buy it on Steam if it's on Steam instead of buying a brand new system? And then they do lose 30%. So that could be a factor, but I don't know that the Steam machine is going to sell enough to put a big dent in Sony's business, but maybe there's a consideration. But I don't think it's the consideration.
Speaking of related, unrelated, RIP Steam Deck.
What?
Didn't they just say that they've stopped making Steam Decks? All that are made are the only ones that are going to be left made?
I think I saw something about that they weren't going to be putting out anymore, but they're still for sale on the store.
Valve has
They're going to do another one at some point.
Interesting.
Moving on. Kotaku says Highguard is already shutting down after only lasting 31 days longer than Concord. I hate the constant comparisons. By rights, Highguard was way more successful than Concord, just for the record. And that's really bad. Highguard is permanently shutting down on March 12th. Developers Wildlight Entertainment made the announcement on Twitter and thanked players for playing the free competitive shooter that launched back in January. On March 3rd, Wildlight Entertainment posted a blog. Highguard's final update arriving soon. Thank you for playing with us. In the blog post, the remaining devs working on the doomed FPS promised that one last update was coming. But then after that, Highguard would be shut down for good on March 12th. Today we're sharing difficult news, said the studio. We have made the decision to permanently shut down Highguard on March 12th. Since launch, more than 2 million players stepped into Highguard's world. Your shared feedback created content, and many believed in what we were building. For that, we are deeply grateful. In the blog post announcing the game's demise, the devs explained that despite the passion and hard work of those who worked on Highguard, the game was unable to build a sustainable player base to support it long term. Wildlight says there will be one final game update that will go live tonight or tomorrow. This was a day or two ago. That will add a new playable warden, a new weapon, account level progression, and skill trees. We hope you'll jump in with us one more time to show your support and get those final great matches in while we still can. This is a sad story, and not necessarily because Highguard was the best game in the world, but it's rough to see such a high-profile game go from release to laying off a bunch of people to shutting down in a month and a half. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a troubling release, to say the least, and there was a lot of controversy around it. It does suck to see generally, but this just seems to be par for the course as far as online free-to-play games go. For every one Highguard that gets any attention from the media at all, there's 100 of them that shut down, and we have no idea. So I don't want to say I don't care about it, because it is a very sad thing, and anyone losing their job and losing something that they were passionate about, and the people that enjoyed this game losing something, it unfortunately is a product of the environment and the ecosystem that we live in right now in video games. And they kind of shot for the stars, but they flew too close to the sun. And the speed of light, we don't really know the speed of light, and so they got a little bit too close to the sun because we weren't sure how far away it was. But call back. Yeah, it's very sad. It is very sad. I wish I could say I cared more. I care for the people that are losing their jobs and the people that enjoyed this game. But unfortunately, I don't even bat an eye. I'm kind of desensitized to this sort of thing happening because games like this come and go constantly. And to be honest with you, the writing was kind of on the wall with this. No matter how many articles from how many news outlets that told you this game's not that bad and everyone's shitting on it for no reason. And I don't necessarily disagree with that opinion, but it wasn't sustainable. The numbers weren't sustainable, and it wasn't going to work. And so this is ultimately what happens whenever you you have all kind of press and your game isn't good enough. People stop playing. So,
Davey, what are you thinking?
I think the bar should be Liz Truss. Remember her? She was the British Prime Minister who lasted 49 days.
Yeah.
I think if your game lasts longer than Liz Truss, then it's an accomplishment. Yeah, not much to really add except that I really think that as much as this, genre, games as a service, competitive shooter, free to play, as much money as this genre is generating, I really think it's been proven time and time again to be an oligopoly. There's only a few games that are ever going to succeed in this arena, and I think they're established as Warzone, Overwatch, Apex, a couple of others. But for as many that have tried to break in, and not from small studios, but from some pretty heavy hitters. Let's not forget about XDefy. And I know we always talk about, Concord and Highguard and Fair Game $. That's probably gone too. There are some big ones that have come from heavy hitters that have failed, and I think it's because these games are designed in a way to keep you in their ecosystem as long as possible, and the ones that have done it well are doing it well for a reason, and those players are not going to leave for anything. And just to note, I don't know that Highguard probably saw Overwatch's like mini little resurgent here coming, but the timing really fucked with them because I think that was the audience that maybe they were going after, and with kind of the fallout of Overwatch 2, there may have been an opportunity there, and I can't blame them for trying to go after that audience. But at the end of the day, like, more of these games are failing than are succeeding, and as Brandon said, it sucks to see people lose their job, but I hope that we see less of these games come out and more good games that are not trying to, suck you in with a free to play promise and then, just get you to spend money in their games as a service model. So yeah, it sucks, but hopefully publishers and developers will start to learn that we don't need any more of these.
Yeah, I think that's I agree to some extent, but also, like, if we don't want developers and publishers to take risks on stuff, then we'll never get cool stuff like Arc Raiders. Like, by the book,
Highguard was a risk. I think part of the reason why Highguard died as quickly as it did is because it wasn't a risk. It was derivative. It had no personality. There was nothing to set apart from horses. It not taking a risk was the problem.
Well,
I don't mean specifically with Highguard. I wasn't referring to that, but the thing I've seen, the constant refrain I've seen a lot is no one asked for this, and it's like, well, no one asked for most games, like, exactly as they are.
Yeah, and I think the difference is, like, you go to the casino with your last $100 is Highguard, and you go to the casino with $100 and you is Arc just for fun, and you accidentally win. Like, I think that's the difference. Is like, yes, both Arc and Highguard are a risk, but I kind of agree with what Dave's saying here. Is that it's very different scenarios. Highguard put their last $100 on the slots, or bet it all on black, and Arc may have bet a lot, but not everything.
The one last thing I'll say is I think it's interesting because this game, 2 minutes after release, was getting down, rated poorly because people just didn't like that it existed. Which I'm okay with review bombing in some instances. That's not one of them. It's like, just because it exists, if it sucks, and it did, okay, that's fine. But they didn't know that before they played it, right? But at the same time, Highguard definitely made more money by all the attention it got, because there had to be some people who played that game and were like, I'll spend $10 on this skin or whatever, that would not have known about the game otherwise. So, like, it was kind of a weird double side of the coin of they got way more hate for no reason because of the publicity.
Yeah.
But they also probably got way more players than they ever would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
also, Ben, related, unrelated, you got one of the YouTubers that I've been watching a lot lately to comment back to your Rage Bait tweet about that.
Asmongold?
No, Legendary Drop.
Oh, yeah, both of them were on me and on Twitter too.
You're in his video. You're in his video. I was literally watching his video about Highguard, and your tweet is in the video.
Yeah, I knew that. I'm in Asmongold's too.
I love it.
Asmongold called me, quote, a bald retard.
I don't really care for Asmongold. That legendary drops guy legitimately makes awesome videos, though. I really like his stuff. But I was just watching the video completely unrelated, and then your fucking face with your tweet pops up in a video that I'm watching, separate from anything. I literally was going back to your post on Twitter and like looking for his comment, but it was a quote retweet.
Yeah.
Was that all he said to you about it? He probably didn't say anything else, did he?
He never spoke directly to me, no. Just that quote retweet, yeah, which is fine. I don't know the guy. He didn't need to talk to me.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, he's pretty successful. I fuck with his videos heavy.
Literally, a developer that I know messaged me and was like, Asmongold's talking about you right now. And I was like, what? So I went and looked at it, and about 10 seconds later, he called me that. And it's like, well,
you're doing something right if that guy's calling you a bald retard.
Yeah, I was to say, what if that make him? God damn.
I just thought, like, it doesn't bother me to be called bald or anything else. But I've been bald for a very long time, and whatever. But I'm like, of all the people who probably should not be commenting on people's hair status, Asmongold's probably one of them. I don't really super have a strong opinion one way or another about him. But I did think that was funny. I actually jumped in his chat and commented and said, "Hey, I'm Ben. I'm the bald guy." He didn't see it though. There's like 50,000 people in there. So the funny thing is, I think that he would generally, like most people like that who were upset about my tweet, would generally agree with the idea that gamers are idiots, which is what I was saying. I was not saying Highguard is an amazing game.
Yeah, nobody could seem to understand that.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, IGN, Crimson Desert dev sick of having to repeatedly deny hiding console footage as some fear another Cyberpunk console launch situation. Will Powers, the public face of Crimson Desert in the West, has hit out at people accusing developer and publisher Pearl Abyss of hiding console footage of the hotly anticipated open-world action-adventure game, and promised reveals are coming ahead of its release date. Pearl Abyss has yet to confirm base performance figures for Crimson Desert on consoles, leaving PS5 and Xbox Series X and S owners wondering how it will perform on their platforms. With the disastrous release of Cyberpunk 2077 still fresh in their memory 6 years later, and the backlash developer CD Projekt suffered by not showing off the game on last-gen consoles ahead of launch, some have expressed a concern that Crimson Desert might struggle on PlayStation and Xbox. Powers has gone on the offensive, taking on social media and to Reddit to hit out at the doubters. In response to one person on Twitter who accused Pearl Abyss of still hiding all console footage, he said, "We're not hiding anything, and I'm sick of having to repeat myself. I've repeated hundreds of times that we'll reveal things ahead of launch to give people adequate time to still pre-order the game for themselves. We're saying this openly. Let us cook. Please and thank you." I did see that tweet. I follow Will Powers on Twitter. And first of all, that team has been doing a bang-up job with that game. It's all over my feeds, and like my real-life friends or acquaintances that don't really know about gaming are asking me about it. Like they know about the 3 games they've been playing since 2004. Not really about like brand new up and coming AA games. So I guess it's a AAA. Anyway, Dave, what do you think about this? How do you feel?
This game comes out in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
And they haven't shown console footage yet. I kind of am understanding of the concern that people have about why you haven't shown console footage of your game 2 weeks before its launch. Maybe there's a reason, I don't know, but the way this was handled was pretty poor, in my opinion. I really don't like to see when people from a developer engage in this kind of negativity with, toxic people on social media. I think kind of matching that energy is a very, very bad look. I think from a PR perspective, if there was if you were seeing a lot of people coming out and expressing this, then there's an approach you can take where you put out a very neutral press release that says we're excited to share with you, more footage from the PS5 build soon, something like that. But having a hissy fit on Twitter is a really, really bad look. So I think this was handled poorly, and we've unfortunately seen this a lot. And to Will's credit, I think some people are pretty crazy when it comes to seeking down developers' personal accounts on social media and trying to engage them that way, just people who have not touched grass in a long time. But I think, as I said, matching that energy is never going to lead to a positive result. So, I have some issue in the way this was handled, but at the end of the day, we are living in a post-cyberpunk world, and this is a legitimate concern of, you want me to pre-order your game? Be transparent and show us everything you can. And if you're not, then that's fine, but you're going to see a sacrifice in pre-orders there. So yeah, I mean, this is probably not going to be a big deal in a couple of weeks, but maybe it will be. We'll see.
I have a couple thoughts real quick, Brandon. One, how many games do come out and say, this is our game running on PC and this is it running on PlayStation? Like, I don't think a lot of games do that. And that leads into my second point of, well, I don't think people should just be okay taking them at face value. Like, they should see it in action or wait for reviews if they don't want to pre-order it. That's fine. But I think by and large, people are just looking for the next target. We got Highguard shut down. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's look for the next big ticket item that we can really tear apart. And unfortunately, that's just a lot of what the internet, especially in the gaming sphere, has become. Now, I'm not saying there's not due diligence to be done. Of course. Don't pre-order a game that you're not sure about its performance or about how good it is or anything, unless you just are totally okay with whatever happening. I'm not saying that, but like, we're 2 weeks out. Console certifications take a long time. Sometimes the patches don't go through until like the week of game launches, if not later. I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing for them to say, we don't have the footage to show you right now. We'll have it soon. I think it's okay for you also not to pre-order the game, but the constant, like, I don't want to say harassment because that sounds really lame, but harassment of people over something they've already told you, yeah, we'll show it before the game comes out. Don't buy it until you see it. Just can't. I don't know. I don't vibe with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying engaging with it is a really bad look.
Oh, yeah. I don't disagree with you there. Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Dave. I think that you never pay the troll toll, regardless, but especially when you're in a position that's meaningful in a company. The trolls are going to be there no matter what. You just never pay them. And I tend to agree with Ben as well. I think that whenever things get press or buzz around them, regardless if that's good buzz or bad buzz, in this case, unlike Highguard, it was good buzz. I think the haterade starts drowning out of the pores of these little trolls at that very moment. So, yeah, I tend to agree. I don't love that they haven't showed base console performances, but I also agree with you, Ben. It is, developers do this often. They often show you footage that is on either PC or the best possible console they can, and they've been doing that for years. Even with console games, they've shown us it running on PC before. Now, there might be a little disclaimer, but this is not something new. And I think that even though people are scarred by what happened with Cyberpunk, I think it's a very convenient way for people to be shitty and kind of justify their bad behavior when, in reality, this is how every game is. You wait for it to come out if you're concerned about something, just as you said, Ben. and that's it. It could be awful. We could have another Cyberpunk incident on our hands with base level consoles.
Sure.
But that's your call. If you wanna if you wanna roll the dice, you roll the dice every single time you buy a game at launch without waiting to see how it does.
Yeah, I don't really understand the desire to pre-order a digital game that is not limited in the amount that you can get it for, and with most stores having decent refund policies if you don't download the game.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is just a silly take. Bad look on the guy. Understandably, that people are being shitty, but once again, double down. You don't pay the troll toll, no matter what.
Davey, do you want the honors of reading this next story?
Fuck yeah. Let's go.
Wait 1 second. David says, I pre-order for preloading. That's perfectly fine and reasonable. But it's 2 weeks out. Like, it's fine. And they've been doing it for 2 weeks past that. In this specific example, that's not the case all the time. But
Eurogamer.net reports that The Division 2 is getting a limited time realism mode, making it more grounded and brutal, but there's a catch. Ubisoft and Massive celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Division franchise yesterday on Twitch. It was pretty cool. Tom Clancy's The Division probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon, especially with the next game still deep in development and Massive Studios facing layoffs and high-key staff departures. Quietly but steadily, the second game in the franchise has retained a loyal following over the years and expanded its horizons with new paid content and substantial free updates. And the content rollout isn't over yet, it seems. Ubisoft and Massive are ready to celebrate the series' 10th anniversary with the realism mode. Revealed as part of an anniversary season video, which you can watch in the article here. Released on the 3rd of March, this alternative mode is turning the looter shooter into a more streamlined and far more punishing experience, which swaps bullet sponge enemies for fragile humans, which better fit the Division's grounded setting. Mind you, the entire game series is heavy in RPG systems, but many casual players always felt a more lethal version of its gunfights would have been interesting to have outside of its survival and BR-oriented efforts. Well, wonder no more, that's exactly what this mode is offering. The article goes on to detail a little bit more about the mode. Couple other things. The Division Resurgence on mobile is officially launching on March 31st. So that's pretty cool. There's a new paid DLC coming for The Division 2 that's set in Central Park. And The Division 2 yesterday hit its all-time peak on Steam. 8 years after it launched. That game's going strong. Good for Ubisoft, good for Massive. I jumped back into this game a couple weeks ago and have been playing some other stuff, but have really gotten the itch to get back into it. But I was pretty pumped for, I was a Ubisoft shill, and then I became a Nintendo shill. I'm now a mobile gaming shill. So as a Division fan and someone who's now shilling with my game, sir, I'm really excited for Division Resurgence. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on the Division. Ben, I know you played quite a bit. Brandon, I don't know if you did, but
no.
This game is super cheap, always, and it's going super strong. So if you guys were ever thinking about jumping back in.
Yeah, Dave, so after we talked a couple weeks ago, I did look. I do have access to it on the Ubisoft Connect app, I think. So I got a review code for it when we were doing more articles and stuff. I played it a ton. I thought I played it on PS4, but I have access to it on PC as well. But I don't know. It's only like $2.50 on Steam. I might just buy it. If something transfers, great. If not, I'll just play it because I kind of want to jump in with you.
Hell yeah. And crossplay. They added crossplay finally. That was one of the other. That was the thing I think people were most excited for.
I thought they'd had crossplay.
No, they didn't. So it's been added.
Okay.
Shit. Yeah, I might try it then too. Okay. It is crossplay.
But yeah, for all the shit around Ubisoft, it's nice to hear. And again, earlier this year we talked about like their free DLC they added to AC Mirage, and there's so much free content that's been added to Division 2. So it's nice to see that they have some some IP that's still going really strong. Division 3 is in active development, so this franchise is here to stay.
The Division 2 is $3
We're gonna get
for the base game on Steam right now.
Division 3 before Destiny 3 because we got Marathon instead. So let that sink in.
That's right. Well, I guess it's time to talk about what we've been playing. Who wants to go first?
Did everyone play Marathon?
I didn't. I didn't play Marathon.
You didn't play Marathon.
I'm gonna buy it no matter what. It's $40 and it's Bungie. I'm gonna play it. So.
I played, Dave. I think we talked about it a little bit. You played too, right?
I played like 3 matches. Maybe we defer until next week or the week after when it's launched.
Okay. I'll just give my very brief thoughts.
Sure.
Thought it was cool. I was getting crapped on a lot, which probably contributed to me not thinking it was amazing. But I think that certain parts of it are really great. There's some little tweaks to it that I don't like some of the stuff in the menus. I'm like, eh. It didn't have me like yearning to get back to it immediately during that whole weekend. That's a little bit concerning for me. But again, I think part of that was because I was just getting completely destroyed every match I played. So I probably still will play it. Like Brandon said, it's $40. It's Bungie. It's going to be around for a long time, hopefully. I'm sure I'll get into it, but it just I liked it. I didn't love it. The server slam. That's what I'll say.
So the tricky thing I had with it was, and that was the big draw for me too. It's a first person Bungie shooter, but it's a game where you have to spend a lot of time not shooting because the NPC enemies are really tough, and sometimes you're not engaged. You're just looting and you're not engaging with other players. A lot of people have reported, not having many encounters. Again, I only played it a few matches, but like, it's a game where you don't shoot a lot, or not as much as you would in Destiny or Halo. So it's my short time playing it, I just wanted to play Destiny because I just wanted to shoot stuff. So that was one thing that was a little bit tricky for me, but again, I didn't play it much, and what shooting I did do felt good. The movement, I hope they tweaked because it felt very like I was walking around in mud. But I do applaud Bungie for using this visual style and really kind of going out on a limb and making it look like a Lady Gaga video.
Yeah.
Because we get so many kind of post-apocalyptic kind of looking games and stuff like that. So I really applaud for them going in their own direction from an art direction standpoint. So, but yeah, maybe we'll talk about it more in a couple of weeks when it's actually out.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Brandon, talk about your other games.
Yeah, I played a decent bit of interesting things. I started Pokemon Emerald probably a week or two ago. Said last week I was almost done with it. I finished that up. An amazing game. So very good. I think the only mainline Pokemon games that I've ever finished is Silver and Red. Never Emerald. I've played a lot, not finished a lot. So, yeah, Emerald was great. One of the best, honestly. Pretty high up there. I think Silver has been my all-time favorite just because that was like my first love. Not even Soul Silver, like the original. Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal. Would play it again. But my push to play these Game Boy games kind of kept me going. And I said last week, even though I wanted to play Platinum, which is another game I've not played, it's on DS. So I started another run of Red, Pokemon Red, Fire Red to be precise. That's been good. That's been pretty good. I did abuse a mechanic that's been in the game since its release. The infamous Nugget Bridge mechanic. You essentially fight, I believe, 5 trainers on a bridge, and at the end of the bridge, the guy gives you a nugget. And then he says, oh, congratulations, here's your nugget. And that sells for 5,000 in-game currency. And then he says, just kidding, I'm Team Rocket. And then you battle him. And then that's it. And then you move on. But if you take a shitty Pokemon in there, one single shitty Pokemon, in my case, it was a level 10 Magikarp, with Splash only learned, which does absolutely nothing, and you die during that encounter, you lose like 200 currency out of your pocket, but then it spawns you back in the Poke Center. And when you walk back to the end of that bridge, guess what he does? He gives you another nugget. So you just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. So I have a fuck ton of money, which doesn't like a fuck ton, hundreds of thousands.
How many times did you do it?
Probably like 80.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was just mindlessly doing it while I was doing other shit. It was one of those things where like the only thing you actually have to be paying attention for is the walk back, and then you just like sit there and spam A and don't even have to like look at the screen. So yeah, I just did that. You know, I said fuck it. It will fundamentally change the experience in the sense that I will be able to buy whatever I want, like as many potions, as many revives, but I'm still going to have to go through the game. Like, it doesn't completely break it. I don't know if you have the ability to buy rare candies in this game. I can't remember. That will be a little game breaking. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm just having fun with it. So,
yeah.
What else? I played Super Battle Golf with the boys. It's a game where you golf and you all swing off at the same time. And then you have to obviously get it in the hole as quickly as possible. Pause. But you also have the ability to smack the shit out of your friends, blow them up, run them over with golf carts, shoot them with weapons. All kinds of fun shit. Honestly, it was a riot. Would highly recommend. I feel like it's a smaller studio from what I've kind of gathered from the way the game looks and plays. It seems to be a smaller studio. But that's not me minimizing it or taking anything away from it. I thought it was great. Ben, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I think that the main drawbacks to it are that they need some more like items, because you can basically, as you mentioned, you all tee off at the same time, and then it's just a sprint to see who can finish first.
Pause.
Pause. And you can beat each other up. You can knock each other around with mines and explosives and all that kind of stuff. You can run each other over with golf carts. All these are things that you get in the world. You can hit each other with your golf clubs, whatever. The amount of different consumables that they have are pretty limited, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just it could be bigger. And then there's only 3 courses right now, which again, the game is $6. So it doesn't feel bad to me. It felt pretty great actually. We played it for like 2 hours. And if I never played again, I feel like that was worth $6.
Absolutely.
Although I'm sure I'm going to play it again.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's a great time, and I think as they continue, I'm sure it's been hugely successful. I'm sure they'll continue to update it and add more stuff in. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great like little party game kind of thing that kind of anybody can play it too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was cool. I'm sure we'll check it out again. But another game that we kind of played in the same night after we stopped playing that was Burglan Gnomes, which is a really hot game right now. It's a game where you play as gnomes and you run around and steal shit from people's houses. It's incredibly goofy. You can rip each other's arms off and like run into a kitchen knife and your legs get cut off, or you like grab onto a cockroach and it rips your arms off. And a giant human comes around and grabs you and puts you in the freezer, or walks around naked, and it's super silly. It's like insanely ridiculous, and your arms
trippy.
Yeah, and your arms can go like insanely Slenderman style and like be huge and just outlandish. So it's a really goofy game, and it's really popular right now. And I can see why. It's just very strange in a good way. I'd be interested to see how they continue to build upon it moving forward. I think that it's popular for a reason, because it's interesting and it's fun and it's social, and that's what's really popular right now. But yeah, we played that for maybe an hour, probably a little bit less than we played Super Battle Golf. Probably wait for full release to try that again, because I believe we just tried the demo. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. And last but not least, I did play probably about 2 hours of Resident Evil 9 today. And guys, I've had an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. You know those commercials that's like go see a doctor if you've had an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. This game did it for me, boys. This game did it for me. Even in my short time I had with it, I am playing on PC right now. I do plan to buy it on console. But man, oh man, this game is beautiful. I love the switching back and forth between Leon and Grace. I love the suggestion of Grace being suggested to be first person and Leon suggested to be third person. I think that's a nice dynamic, having played both, especially recently. Having a larger love for the third person after going back to some of the old games, and then also having an original love for the first person, not only as like a first person shooter guy, but with the 7 and 8. So yeah, it's fantastic. And in the first 2 hours, I was literally shitting my britches, and squealing like a little girl multiple times. Phenomenal, phenomenal. They definitely brought the scary, at least in what I've seen so far. And I know, having played a bunch of Resident Evil games, usually the types of scary it ends up being changes throughout the game. There's like shifts in the vibes usually a couple times throughout the game as you play. So I'm very interested to see how they kind of bring that here. Leon Kennedy has never been more badass as an old man. Some of the melee combat that they put in this game is absolutely fucking amazing. I won't spoil anything, but at one point I was Leon and I was in a room, and the room was a completely clean room. And in the next 5 minutes, I don't think that there was a single inch of that room that was not covered in blood and viscera. So it was out the gate, was just fucking banging, 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 banging. Looks beautiful, runs great on my PC, and very, very, very creepy at the beginning. I am absolutely in love with this game so far. So, Ben,
Yeah.
did you get a chance to play it all?
No. I'm probably gonna play it after I get back from GDC.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if you said you played a tiny bit or you hadn't played it at all. So.
No, I haven't touched it. Yeah, I kind of wanted to make sure I had time to actually not rush through it and play it. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely in love. Also, I don't think it's like a huge deal. In all the Resident Evil games, there is like a melee mechanic, right, where you can only melee so much before your shit breaks. I think they've taken that away from this game because you appear to be able to sharpen your shit, which is really interesting, and I could see how some people might not like that, but I've enjoyed the time I've had with it, and makes the scarcity of bullets way less scary, and not even in a bad way. It just makes you consider more, and I think they probably adjusted the amount of bullets they gave you, knowing that you will have to spare them and then rely heavily on melee. So
Yeah.
Leon Sex Kennedy at it again. Yeah, just fantastic, boys. So good so far. I was blown away in the first couple hours.
Nice.
Oh, and shameless product placement multiple times in the first couple hours.
Anything else, Brandon?
No, that's it.
Davey.
Okay, so I finished Metroid Prime 4 this past week, and overall, a pretty disappointing experience. This game is probably the clearest example of a game that was rushed to the finish line or had its development restarted, that I think I've ever seen. When I first played this game and talked about it on the show, I was blown away by how well Retro had captured the nostalgia of Metroid Prime 1 in the first area called Fury Green. And the second main area that you go to, called Volt Forge, I think is one of the coolest video game dungeons that I've ever seen. It was just the music, the atmosphere, the build up and the crescendo. Like, Volt Forge is incredible. and then the rest of the game happens, and I don't know, like it's just so like nothing comes close to those first few hours in terms of creativity, complexity that you expect from a Metroid game, anything like that. I do really like the use of abilities that you have in the game, but they're never really used in complex or interesting ways. It's just kind of sad. I think overall this was it was an okay experience. I'm glad I played the game. I just really wish that this game's development kind of followed a more linear cycle and it wasn't as troubled as it was. I really wish they dropped the number 4 from the title. This should have been called Metroid Prime Beyond and been its own kind of spin-off, because it just doesn't feel right alongside the first 3 games in the Metroid Prime thing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really just like, I'm just thinking now to some of the other, like a lot of people talk about the big wide open desert that had nothing in it, and that's fair. But driving around on the motorcycle was pretty fun. The dungeons were so like easy and linear and straightforward, and it's just like there was so little backtracking that you expect from a Metroid Prime game. Like it was just sad. Like it really was in so many ways. So yeah, Metroid Prime 4, glad that one's behind me. I think about the 4 Metroid games I've played in the past like year or so. I probably have Metroid Prime 4 as the worst. Metroid Prime 2, I respected as a really good game, but I just found it really frustrating and spongy, and I thought the light and dark mechanics didn't really add a whole lot except for a bit of frustration. Metroid Prime 1 obviously is great, but I had the best time with Metroid Dread. Like, I loved that game. It was just focused, it was good, it was tense, it captured kind of the tone of the series in so many different and interesting ways. And it was just a well-designed and thought-out game. So, yeah. Glad I've kind of tied a bow on that series for now. But, yeah, and if you're interested in Metroid Prime 4, I'd probably wait for a sale on this one, or if you can borrow it from a friend. Because honestly, I think the first few hours in the first 2 areas that you go to are worth seeing, and the rest of the game doesn't quite make up for it, but yeah, I don't know. Pretty disappointed about that.
Doesn't stick the landing.
Exactly. And you know what? Alive on air.
He's going to rip his dick out. Oh.
This doesn't deserve to be here. So, Samus, you're coming down, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, that was
You
my
were so
pre-order
excited to
bonus.
get that, too.
I know.
That's tough. That is
Fuck
tough.
that. Anyways, on to the good. I finished God of War Ragnarok also this week. If you're wondering why I played so many video games, Bridgerton came out, so my wife was busy. So I powered through God of War Ragnarok. Just a bit of a recap. The last time I talked about this game, I was troubled a little bit by some of the pacing in the middle of the game. I felt it was really slow. There was a lot of talking, da-da-da. And I think the reason why I felt that way is I wasn't having a whole lot of time I could find gaming. I was doing like 30 minutes, 45 minutes at a time. So a lot of these sections, like I was kind of extending out longer than I think they should have been. I do think there was some extended periods in the middle of the game that could have been paced better, but I think taken as a package, this game really moved me. Like it was incredible. I'm still, it's been a couple of days since I finished the game, and I'm still kind of like reliving in my head some of the themes that just so expertly tied up at the end of the game. You think about like fighting against your fate and what it means to be a parent, and you see like the example of obviously Kratos and Atreus, but then also Thor and his daughter, and then like Odin and his kids, and Freya and stuff like that. And I think just where I'm at in my life right now as a new parent, it was really a good time to play the game. And some epic moment in the last like 6 hours of that game, like just some incredible and epic moments. I talked about that first fight with Thor in the beginning of the game, and spoiler alert, there's another fight at the end of the game with Thor, and it was unbelievable. The gatekeeper guy, what's his name? Heimdall. I thought like he was a really incredible kind of enemy who I kind of feel I wish had more of a place at the end of the game, but again, spoiler alert, I'm sorry. But yeah, man, incredible. And then I also said that I kind of felt like God of War Ragnarok and 2018, you really need to look at them as part one and part two, and as a package, an absolute masterpiece. So yeah, I'm glad I finally played Ragnarok. I wish I hadn't have waited, but yeah, I'm never gonna forget that game. Like that was incredible. So
I really like that game too. Not as much as the first one for me, but not because it's a worse game, just because it was like a return to, return to old. And then the second one was like, I'm pumped, but I just played this 3 years ago too. So
yeah, I really like the spear too. The spear you get towards the end of the game.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
was a really awesome.
Yeah.
Like the three weapons together were pretty excellent. So
yeah.
yeah, and last little thing, arc raiders. So the last week I was telling you guys how I got into the last step in the expedition, and then I was just like, I do not have time to grind out everything I need for this expedition. So I think it was on Friday night or something. I just threw on arc raiders. I just wanted to check quickly to see if anything had changed, or I just kind of wanted to check, And like within a minute of me logging in, I get that little pop-up. It says Ben is handsome has invited you to their group, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh fuck. And I literally was gonna like play one or two raids, and I thought about sending Ben a message and being like, sorry man, I'm not gonna group up tonight. But then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna group up. So I joined Ben, and I said, and there was a well-spoken fellow playing with him named Mac. And I just said, listen, guys, I was just popping in for one or two raids, and then I'm off for the night. Like, no problem. What are you doing? And I was like, oh, nothing. I was just checking to see, how close I was to the expedition. I'm really, really far away. I need way too much money's worth of stuff. And this angelic fellow named Mac, who's like, okay, what do you need? Tell me, Dave. Tell me. And Ben was there too. And I'm like, okay, I need like I don't know what the numbers were, but I need like $100,000 worth of like seeds. He's like, okay, I got you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, I have enough stuff, so I'll just bring it into the raid and you can take it and we can exfil. And I'm like, are you sure? And Mac and Ben were like, it's all gonna go away when the expedition starts, so you might as well. So we did like 3 or 4 raids where Ben and Mac just came in with like an obscene amount of like seeds or like level 4 bobcats with all of the all of the attachments. And I'm like, I said once as I was taking all this stuff, like, if I get killed, I'm gonna make somebody's day, because I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's got some shit on him. So yeah, we just went back and forth, and I filled up my expedition, and I got the expedition. So
We
shout
have
out.
loaded you up with, I don't know, $750,000 worth.
It was a lot. So shout out to Ben and Mac for helping a brother out, because I made the expedition. So that was pretty cool. But yeah.
He's there. How's your new raider enjoying Speranza?
I haven't logged in yet. I'm planning on playing on Friday or Saturday. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks again to you and Mac.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like, I had more than enough to get the expedition and all my skill points. And it was literally, that was the last day I was going to be able to play before the reset. So here you go.
Yeah, I'm glad I logged in.
Yeah. And it's funny because we had been playing Marathon, and we just, our third left, we just switched to Arc Raiders, and you were on. And I was like, oh, I'll just see if Dave wants to hop in. Because it's always more fun to play with 3 than 2. So.
And we had another person ask us about Israel.
So every single time, I never have this happen to me, but every time I have played with Dave, people have asked me about Jews or Israel, in a trolley way, of course. I've never had it any other time except for when I'm playing with Dave. I don't know what's going on, Dave, that you are like
The wild thing is when I'm playing with Ben, my prox chat doesn't work, so I cannot conversate with any of these people. So it has nothing to do with me.
Well,
just a happy accident, I suppose. Shalom.
Yeah. Usually the reason they're asking is because no matter what you say, they want to kill you. Anything else, boys? All right.
No, that's it.
I think that's it. I played a little bit of a game, but like so little that I want to wait to talk about it because I think it is a great Steam Deck game that I'm probably going to play next week while I'm away. So I'll talk about it when I get back. Like I only played like half an hour of it, so it's not worth talking about. That's it. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Again, remember, no show next week. We'll be back the week after. Visit us on Discord or hang out with us on Patreon as well. Anything I missed, boys?
No.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you in 2